everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing's LinkedIn live session today. We are on the 138th episode, and we are discussing on a topic of reimagining learning, the transition from academia 1.0 to 5.0. We have the honor of having Umesh Rathod, a TEDx speaker, mentor, author, startup theories, examples, and activities. Without further ado, bringing Mr. Umesh onto the platform. Hi, Umesh.
Namaskar, namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. How are you, sir?
All good, sir. How are you?
Wonderful, sir. I think Umesh was struck in a session which was there, so we had a delay of about 5 minutes. Sorry for the inconvenience caused on that. Without
Apologies from my
having,
end also to all the viewers. Sorry for the delay. Yes,
yeah, Umesh, just want to understand. You have been deeply involved in the education and entrepreneurship for over a decade. How do you perceive the evolution of academia 1.0 to 5.0, and what have been the most significant shifts in this journey, sir?
absolutely, sir. I have been passionate about education. In fact, as you mentioned about my, experience, just after my graduation, I did a startup in STEM education, focused on hands-on learning for school students and junior college students. When I look back at the way academia 1.0 to 5.0 transition, the way it's happening, we have, somewhere missed on what's happening in the academic aspect. The focus was always on the industry 1.0 to 5.0. When we look at the Western countries and the way Silicon Valley or the Israel ecosystem has developed, I take lessons the way they have shaped their academia, their universities, how they have supported them to be the front runners to come up with innovation. Now, after a couple of decades, even they are facing, that issue. But in case of India, it was always been the industry as the forerunner. And that having been said, uh, we have always been taking lessons from the industry, what is the demand, and have been providing those human resource to the industry. So when we go back in time, let's talk about from Independence Day, because before that, almost like 400 years, our academic institutions were not as in shape which we had developed, like Nalanda University for that matter, or various other universities which were established, way back. Um, we had a very colonial kind of setup, and the academia was only focused on providing job seekers like who will be going and working in the industry. So the whole program, the whole curriculum, the whole approach was focused on creating people who will be finally working at some juncture. uh, in academia 2.0, there were several changes which happened, a little bit more liberalized way of doing things. We established couple of great institutions like IISc. We have I'm like they were already established, but they got support, and they got due accreditation or visibility. So people started coming to know, okay, we have an institution like IISc, we have institutions like IIMs, and then in the school, for that matter, like when we look at school, junior college, then senior education or higher education, the shift has been focused in a very slow manner. From academia 2.0 to leaping to 3.0, again, the evolvement of the telephone or the telecommunication happened. When we look at industry 3.0, when we match it, And then due to the advent of telecom, few other things came in, few other developments in terms of teaching. We went from the blackboard teaching to digital methods of teaching, and students, or the practical hands-on which was required. So we started development of various toolkits which students can go back, experiment, pivot, and also do those experiments in the campuses. So laboratories got those kind of a support. The Academia 4.0 was all about embedded systems, IoTs. We had digital classrooms, but again, this was only for the certain section of the society. When we look at the metros, when we look at tier one cities, but the tier three cities or tier villages or the panchayats still face that issue. Even when we look at the industry or the Academia 5.0. So from Academia 4.0 to the leap of Academia 5.0, I see a drastic shift. Many of the institutions are using AI-enabled, lessons. There are AR, VR, which has, got into the academic institutions for, perfect development or perfect explanation of a concept. So I think this very well summarizes my understanding of Academia 1.0 to Academia 5.0. And with the advent of NEP 2020, I think a lot of things have shaped up, a lot of things have democratized, institutions have opened up, you know, uh, collaborations with foreign universities, foreign counterparts, foreign method of teaching, and I think that's a good signal for the academic institution. And with advent of 5.0 academia, we can
Uh,
see incubation centers being part of it, right?
okay.
Startups coming out of it, so that the change from being colonial thought process of creating job seekers to creating job creators. I can say that in few lines.
Yeah. Sir, how do you see the role of technology in transforming traditional educational models to more innovative and entrepreneurial ones?
Right. So, I think technology has played a very crucial role in our ecosystem,
Hmm.
especially post 2014, the way we have seen things shape up with, 4G technology rolling in, and due to the high speed internet connectivity, uh, we have access for best of the quality material.
Hmm.
Students are not only learning in campuses, students are peer learning, students are also learning from various courses which are offered by institutions globally. So that democratization happened post 2014.
Okay.
Before that, it was very much limited to peer-based learning and the institutional based learning or the coaching centers. But
Hmm.
here we can see a drastic shift. Students are getting an exposure to what is being taught globally. What are the global methods? What are the global
Standards.
tools which are being
Hmm.
used? And technology in the sense, uh, students can communicate with each other, like before corona, I can say, and post corona period, where students can work in peers, zoom calls are happening, they are doing assignments online, faculties or institutions of excellence are recording these sessions, and if any student is not able to attend it, they can go back and attend it on the recorded one, so they are not missing on something which is very valuable and important, which was not available earlier. Apart from that, the kind of tools which are used in engineering colleges, polytechnics, junior colleges, or for that matter school also,
Hmm.
students have started using those technical tools, uh, kits, to explain their ideas. In fact, teachers got that support to present their ideas in classroom more hands, regular, what we can say, method of going forward with AR and VR. I think it's going to just it's just going to be getting more better. Uh, it was a very difficult task for a teacher in a tier 2, tier 3 city to explain how a heart works. Imagine a
Yeah,
teacher. I have seen, a couple of videos. They draw it with their hand, and if the teacher does not know
yeah,
how to draw it well, you can imagine the kind of picture a student will imagine how the heart looks or how it functions.
correct.
So now, students can literally take a run through. They can literally through AR VR visualize it, how it functions, how the
Correct.
veins work, how the arteries work, how the blood is pumped, right? So this gives a different perspective altogether. And with the advent of technology, also, I think big thanks to the government to democratize these initiatives to bring 4G. Now we have 5G technology with great speed.
Yeah.
I think comes great content.
Hmm. Yes, sir. Now I see the education landscape from where we started. If you look at way back in my schooling days, going to school by bus was a dream, kind of a thing, right? So that was the situation that we were there when we started education. Now, how do you think the historical academic structure in India has been influenced by colonial legacies? And how do you see the shift from the academia 1.0 to 5.0, addressing the challenges of colonial remnants in our education systems?
Yeah, definitely. I think I have highlighted some of the pointers in my first interaction. Uh, but still, the academia was rote learning based.
Yeah.
Uh, with so many tools, programs, and advent of technology, students have access to handpick what they want to learn from where they want to learn.
Hmm.
So, in colonial era, we were limited to resources, limited to content, limited to our historical structures, in the sense we did not talk about Vedas, we did not talk about our learnings, we did not talk about the examples of our great sages who have invented certain things, who have contributed so much to the scientific community as well. And due to that, we can see that it had a greater impact that we always looked, as a person, when you look at a document or some great visionary developing something or inventing something, you always look up to those people, right? When it was completely missing from our textbooks, it became a little difficult for students to have the pride in what they are learning. Not only that, the teachers, right, had to go through creating content which they were not very much familiar of. So the rote learning impacted us, our education system, I think almost for 3 decades. And due to the rote learning methods, we only were able to create job seekers. I mean, like we, are known for best of the CEOs in the world, and in the US we have best of the CEOs running great companies. But at the same time, I would like to highlight through this platform, there are 90 plus unicorns established by Indian founders which have traveled to US, who have migrated from India to US. And that's a big number. We are
Yeah.
problem solvers in a nutshell. We have given best of the solutions to the world, starting with zero. We have given best
Yeah.
of the medicine to the world, yoga. The
Yeah.
world talks about pharma, that is cure after the disease, but we focused on not getting disease at all in first place. So
True.
are we focusing those aspects in our academy? Are we talking about those things? And I think that was completely missed in our textbooks. We did not focus on these attributes, which has led us, to certain kind of complications, which we can see today in the way we, move around. So we gave yoga to the world, but did we ever talked about it? Did we ever
Yeah.
had those sessions for the students? So colonial mindset, needs to go away, and I think we are already, at the cusp of it. The other aspect was teaching in English, which hampered our
Mm.
growth. All the
Yeah.
lessons, making it a pride thing that you can talk in English, and you need to communicate in English. So the larger chunk of the society had to first learn English, then understand the concept in English, which they already knew in the local form, local language. But they were not able to contribute to the scientific experiments because these words they were not aware of. So now what government is doing is having the advent of utilizing local language in teaching. So a person in Ladakh learns in the local language. A person in Gujarat learns in a local language. A person in Maharashtra, learns in his or her local language. So it will impact in the sense why, because you are comfortable in your mother tongue. You don't have to play with your neurons to learn a new language to gain mastery. In fact, I see a lot of faculties, they feel hesitant to come forward and share their learning, share their experiments, share their inventions. I think it's very, very difficult, for those faculties to go through such a trauma. They are great inventors. Why they need to speak in a certain language? So colonialism impacted us and hampered our growth in a very, very, drastic way. And I'm really happy that things are changing now.
Sir, one other pointer now, National Education Policy or NEP has been brought up. So, how much is the change that we are talking in terms of our value system, our learning systems and stuff, sir? Because I think most of the books that we had was how how we were treated, kind of a stuff. How the great Mughals came into the country, what was their rule. It is more about talking about their rule, and in the middle there was, see, it is specific to history. Now, talking about living history, we had scientific people like Aryabhatta and stuff. How is that been added into new educational policy? Any idea that, because this is an off topic question that I'm putting it to you.
No, it's a
If we
very
had,
important topic. Yes, yes. I
yeah.
will give a gist of my understanding of NEP 2020 because I have been understanding the German education system. I had been pivotal in G20 education working group when Singapore
Oh.
ministry came to India last year. And I've
Mhm.
gone through the way NEP 2020 has shaped. And I would
Okay.
like to first, salute to the people who have worked on creating this policy. They have put in a lot of efforts to
Mhm.
democratize the way people can take path through it. Earlier there was a dead end in certain academic learning, like after certain degree you cannot move to other domain.
Mhm.
So many students felt traumatized, many students felt depressed, and that is opened in NEP 2020. One of the
Okay.
key highlights in NEP 2020 is that it leverages industry connect.
Hmm.
When we talk about industry 4.0 or 5.0 and academia 5.0 go hand in hand, and
Mhm.
inventions come through academia in some point of time, it is really important to collaborate with industry,
Okay.
right? When we look at India as a country, the R&D spend of the government is not that significant. It's there, but it's
Hmm.
not that significant. But when
Okay.
you look at the investment made by the industry in R&D, it's much, much lesser. When you
Okay.
look at the Western counterparts, you will see a lot of Indian students going abroad for research, PhDs, and these
Yes.
are all funded by industry.
Hmm.
They take care of your 3 or 4 years of academic expenditure, but they make sure that they get something out of you. So
Hmm.
here, I think research with industry-driven research that is democratized. Other part of it, the industry linkages also help in on-the-job training,
Hmm.
uh, internships, getting to know what is happening in the industry. So while
Okay.
students are learning their topics, their lessons in the institution, they are also focused on gaining the knowledge about where they are going to work, which kind of organization or entity they will be involved with. The most important aspect is getting to know the people. Finally,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
institution is all about managing people. I'm like the development of a person is focused on like how he or she can work around with people. Is he or she a team player? If he or she has the soft skills also, it's not only about the technical skills today, right? It has
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be how you get things done from your team. It's how you communicate with your team. So NEP 2020 in a nutshell gives that advantage to the academic institutions, which was missing early.
Hmm. Okay. Great point there, sir. Off the topic, but still, I think more information was let out. So, we're talking about Academia 5.0 on the horizon. What would or what does the future of learning look like, and how do we envision the roles of teachers and students evolving in their new education paradigm?
Very difficult question to answer because it's still a black box. We are
Yeah.
still trying to figure out. Because I've been meeting some startup founders who want to work in this space. In
Hmm.
fact, there is a guy from IIT Bombay I've been interacting with who wants to use, AR and VR tools to democratize learning and
Okay.
how gamifying can play a role. So gamifying is a big industry which
Hmm.
is going to pop up in the country, starting from
Yeah.
K-12 to junior college to polytechnic and so on. So I think it's gamifying will be the future. You know,
Okay.
Many Western countries have adopted to those kind of tools, but again, uh, looking at the teacher's role, right?
Hmm.
I think they will be more into hand-holding their students, to understand their topics better. And not only that, I think academics institutions will be a hub for new knowledge creation in the terms of not only startups,
Hmm.
but how taking the use of these tools. Every faculty, I mean, like, I've been going to engineering colleges also, and they have a state of art recording studios.
Hmm.
So they will be able to create content which could be enabled on AR and VR, and students can get better insights or better in-depth insights of those topics. So a lot of startups are already working on this space, um, and I think in which the faculties will play a very pivotal role. It's not like the way we had perceived computer, right? In the computer age, when it entered in India, a lot of people question that computer will take away our jobs. I think so. After watching those videos, being part of that AR, VR, the students will have more curiosity, more
Hmm.
questions, and I
Okay.
think that's where the academics or the faculties will come into picture to address those concerns which students will have.
Okay. You are saying students and the teachers have a better advantage in the 5.0 academia space, right?
Yes, yes.
Given your experience, extensive experience in promoting entrepreneurship, okay, how does the concept of entrepreneurial education fit into Academia 5.0 framework, and what does it have as an impact on the students' outcomes?
Well, great question. So let's go back a little bit in Academia 3.0, when the ecosystem for uh, the, the placement cell started
Hmm.
developing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Earlier you had to take your CV and run from place to place to get
Yeah,
a job.
yeah. I
But
started that.
then,
I
but then
started
in
my
this,
career that way only, running around with my resume floating around,
right,
couple of copies in my hand, and started distributing them. So I started my career like that. I recall
correct.
that, sir.
Right. So we have been there, we have done that kind of a thing. But here's the thing, here's the beauty of how we work. We conceptualized and created a value chain for placements.
Hmm.
So there was a TPO cell, there was a TPO officer, one of the faculty took the role. The
Okay.
students' body came in, right? So the TPO cell brought in the industry. They made sure that few interviews are conducted, and then students were taught how to prepare their CVs and then how it,
Oh,
shape. When we talk about entrepreneurship, I've been going to various institutions and giving the same example. There is a value chain for
okay.
entrepreneurship already existent, which we are not visualizing. If a
Hmm.
student comes up with an idea,
Okay.
right, the faculty just has to guide him to the suitable incubation center and
Hmm.
help him build a pitch deck.
Yeah.
Once your pitch deck is ready, you are pitching to the incubator. They will go to the investors, take a review, take an understanding, and give you a feedback whether you can be incubated or not. So once you
Okay.
have your startup, you are incubated, right? You are getting funding. That is a SSFS scheme of Startup India, that is Startup Seed Fund.
Okay.
So you get 20 lakh rupees once you are incubated in any incubation center, which is registered on the Startup India portal. So
Oh.
once you have incubated over there, you have a lift off, right? So the way we were running from places to places, taking our CV, here we have to run, develop our pitch deck, go to incubation center, and maybe investors or the faculty coordinator who is taking care of the entrepreneurship cell, and pitch them that this is an idea I want to pitch, and they will connect you to the incubation center. So that value chain already exists, but we have not we visualized it. The other thing which I feel Industry 5.0 will do is, with so many alumni coming up with their startup ideas, running their successful businesses, there is a big shift. The academia, which was only propagating, campus recruitments, campus placements at the entrance,
Hmm.
every institution in India, it's has a hoarding, big hoarding with the faces of people placed and the companies which are coming. I think we need to now put alumni faces over there and the companies which they are establishing. This will not only create a perception change in the student's mind, because almost for 200 days they travel in the campus, right? So every day, every morning when they enter the campus, they can visualize either they want to become an entrepreneur or they want to become, or they want to take up a job. So I think Industry 5.0 will see that change happening. The value chain which I talked about already exists. It's just that formally it is not recognized yet. So the entrepreneurship cells are already existing so many colleges. I think I am being a mentor with ESL Bombay to a couple of NITs and other engineering colleges. So these e-cells work brilliantly to cater to the ideas, to help them build business model, inviting investors, speakers, people from the different entrepreneurship ecosystem. So that is all happening, but it's happening like underground. I'm like, it's not got that TPO like a limelight. I
Hmm.
won't name the institution, but there is an engineering college which said that this year they will focus on sending 30% of their students for getting their startup incubated. They have a technology business incubator funded by DST, and 70% people will only go for placements.
Hmm.
So you can see that it's coming from the institution, right? So that change is happening, and I think next 2 or 3 years, or maybe 5 years down the line, we see that processes in line.
Now you spoke about incubation centers. For the audience's knowledge, how do they come to know this incubation center, and what would be the basic documentation or anything that they should be giving for them to get into this incubation center and start their own startup? Any thought process around it, Umesh sir?
So yes, incubation centers. The information is available on Startup India website.
Okay.
So once you go on the website, there is a list of incubation centers available in India. In fact, there is a website of Department of Science and Technology, NSTDB. On that also you have the technology business incubators. If not that, there are host incubation centers of MSME also available on the website. Apart from that, there are private incubation centers. So
Hmm.
you will have almost around 1,000 plus incubation centers information available handy on the net.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about the documentation for the incubation center, to get incubated, you need to have your startup register. Startup
Okay.
could be registered into LLP or private limited. You can hire any CS firm to do that, right? And you
Mm,
need to just understand what are the pros and cons of having LLP or private limited. Apart from that, if your idea is a patented one, so you need to file a provisional patent or file a complete patent of your idea. If
mm,
you have a patented idea, you have a higher chance of getting incubated or invested from the investor, because the risk appetite, the risk goes low in that sense, because you have a patented technology. So not many people might try to do or replicate what you're trying to do. So that is one thing. So yeah, you need just a documentation, that is, you need to be registered with the MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, with your LLP or private limited, or you can, yeah, and you can, have to need to have the your PISTEC,
mm.
and if you have patented technology, you need to have that provisional certificate of your patent. If not, you can always go to the incubation center and also ask that you want to patent this technology. I think they can also handhold you in that processes. In Maharashtra, definitely we have Maharashtra State Innovation Society. In
Okay.
Gujarat, we have iHub. In Andhra Pradesh, we have Startup Andhra. In UP, we have Startup UP, Startup Uttarakhand, right? Assam, we have. So likewise, we have various initiatives on their website. Also, you'll find a state-wise incubation center, which has collaborated with them,
Mhm.
and the details ready reckoner of list which is required for getting incubated. In fact, you'll also somewhere find list of investors which they are
Okay.
connected.
Okay. So the government has launched various schemes for fostering innovation, and you touched about on that on the entrepreneurial side. And how is this innovation and entrepreneurship in education, and how are these initiatives, such as the ones led by AICT, right, contributing to the transition from towards 5.0, and what impact you foresee on the longer term? Because when we talk about education, it is not one day's process, so there is a lot of
Absolutely.
things that you have to look at from a longer part of it. So how do we see the governments getting in these schemes and looking at tracking them for a longer period?
Right. I think a very broad question and very important one there. Uh, so I have recently taken up a role in the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell as the
Mhm.
innovation manager for the Western Region, Maharashtra and Goa.
Okay.
And when I look at, so I've been following their activities for last couple of years since the
Mhm.
inception of Smart India Hackathon and the Ministry of Innovation Cell. Uh, it is really important to understand, like these businesses understand, a customer journey. We
Mhm.
need to understand the student journey, and
Okay.
NEP 2020 also does that. They have understood how a student will get into junior KG, first standard, fifth standard, matriculation, and that, and how it will shape his career.
Mhm.
So, from academic perspective, when we talk about academia 5.0, to build good policies, to build good solutions, to build good content and activities for the students to become more entrepreneurial, it is really important to understand their journey, student journey, right? And not only that, the faculty journey also, like how we are going to handhold faculties to capacity building, to upgrade their knowledge, to match the industry standards. At the same time, how we are going to shape this students who are going to be coming to these institutions. And NISP has been very pivotal in that sense. National Institution Startup Policy, NISP, is a very pivotal, policy for academia created by AICT. In this, it gives a mandate to academician that he or she can start a business. And
Okay.
not only start a business, they can get funded and get incubated. So, it's really important for us to create, idols for students in the campus.
Hmm.
As of now, when we talk about entrepreneurship cell, the students hunt for, their mentors or investors outside, or startup founders outside,
Outside, yeah.
and they go out and they bring those speakers. I would like to give some example from my visits in Kolhapur. A
Mhm.
few institutions over there. have running a business worth rupees 3.5 to 4 CR
Okay.
established and incubated in their campus. And these are
Ah.
run by the faculties.
Hmm.
It has only been possible due to the advent of NISP. Just a
Hmm.
second. So NISP has been able to achieve that kind of importance.
Okay.
So it's really important for faculties to leverage these policies. Otherwise, it will be a beautiful document in the cloud.
Cloud.
The
So there
other
are many documents that are there, but as you rightly said, people know are not aware, and that still says as a document in the cloud. You're right on it. Yeah.
right, I met one of the faculties who said that that's a government institution.
Hmm.
Uh, so many people said that you cannot start a business.
Okay.
So he was upfront and he said, "Sir, I have this NISP policy with me, and
Hmm.
it clearly mandates that I can start a business. No one can stop me." So I could see that kind of a passion. I could see that kind of a attitude change, the perception change amongst the academicians. And I tell you, there will be, I think, thousands of examples in our campuses. There are faculties who are running businesses. They are maybe consulting businesses into manufacturing, maybe into services apart from the consulting. But these examples, these stories need to come up from your platform. I would request the incubation center CEOs to maybe invite these faculties, record their sessions, invite students also be part of that session, so they also get motivated and inspired by the people who are already existing in their campuses, learn from there, because they will get a handholding. What happens is today, a lot of speakers come and they go, they fancy them, but they really don't connect, they don't handle them, right? Finally, it's the faculty in the campus who can mentor and guide them for a longer period of time. So it's really important to have that mentor mentee connect happening in the institutional level, and I think NISP does that beautifully. Apart
Okay.
from that, when you look at academia 5.0 and how AICT or Ministry of Education is driving it, they have democratized a lot of things, from filing patents to supporting them in getting that reimbursed, having the largest portal of ideas, Yukti. Apart from that, Smart India Hackathon, which is our flagship program, 50,000 teams participated last year, 50,000 into 6, right?
Okay.
uh, 3 lakh students participated last year in Smart India Hackathon. And then they brought it down to number of teams participating in the finals. But here's the catch. A lot of students are interested to problem solve. Now
Hmm.
their approach might be wrong. They might be, wrong in some processes, some understanding. They might have some biases in their approaches, but they have an intent, and I think that's what is needed to create the entrepreneurial ecosystem or the culture what we all talk about in the campuses today. So, like IIT Madras has been able to do that. They are
Hmm.
number one in technology transfer. There are a couple of other universities who are filing, a good number of patents. Last year, 1 lakh patents have been filed by the academicians in the country. But the challenge is how we connect IP attorneys, how we connect investors, how we connect industries to come to these institutions, ask them what kind of patents they have. Can they, most of the faculties are shy, as I told you, right? They are
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
not able to come out and share their ideas. Not only that, they don't feel confident enough in sharing their ideas. That might
I
be
think the other point that I would like to add here is it is not that they cannot share and stuff like that. The point that they see is my idea is not that great is the first point that they think on themselves most of the time. That is where I think most of the ideas don't come out in the Indian context. Whereas if you look at other countries, when they have an idea, they blow it up out of proportion. They want to get the attention, and they see that some or the other person talks about it, or he uses those are things. If two or three rejections are there, then we are not there, so we move
right.
out. That's the
So
major point that I've seen.
yes. So through your medium again, I would like to request each college to at
Hmm.
least have one technology transfer in this academic year. Because once they do that one technology transfer, and if we have some 50,000 odd institutions in HEIs,
Yeah.
I think will be game.
Yeah.
Once they know the process, the do's and don'ts, the failures and success in that, it will set a precedent for other people to come ahead and do that,
Hmm.
because no one has done it. They are still in dilemma. That was the case with startup and incubation centers also. Today I meet on a day, on an average, three people from academia or academic institutions who want to start an incubation center,
Hmm.
which was not the case earlier. So now, because many people have done it, there is also a bandwagon happening over there, right? FOMO is happening, fear
Hmm.
of missing out, that we want our academic institution or the students to leverage that.
Hmm.
And today, I think great institutions are known by the kind of incubation center they have and the kind of startups which have graduated from those incubation centers.
Very valid point there, sir. The ecosystem is evolving, and we see a lot of adoption coming up from every individual in the country, at least for us. What skills do you believe will be crucial for students to thrive in Academia 5.0? And how should education institute adopt the curricula to prepare the students for these demands? See, I would like to add one point here is we've been talking in most of our podcasts. The bigger challenge what I've heard or our speakers have told is that we don't have a product coming out of a college. People finish their education but they are not ready to the industry. That is not thought, is what I've heard most of our pointers. We are educated, but what does the industry need? We don't only need education, we need also some kind of a skill which fits into the industry market, and you can pick up, or any person can be picked up just like that and start working. So your take on that in terms of preparations, that is the skill for the future. What is your thought?
So this will be very personal answer. Keeping aside my role as the
Yeah.
innovation manager in the government, because I have been in the ecosystem for a very good amount of time.
Hmm.
I think very important is the knowledge, skill, and attitude. The
Okay.
junction of these three.
Hmm.
Knowledge in the sense what is happening in the industry, what is expected, what kind of startups are coming out, keeping a
Yeah.
track of it, keeping the track of what kind of new dimensions are going to come up. For
Hmm.
example, maritime industry in India is not existing almost.
Hmm.
We don't
Hmm.
have private yachts compared to the Western world. While we have the largest, sea as a boundary, we have the
Yeah.
largest coastal area.
Correct.
So, what will happen in is there a policy being created by the government keeping a watch on these aspects? Reading reports published by IBEF, the Indian Brand Equity Foundation, keeping a track on Niti Aayog reports. So, gaining the knowledge what is happening in the ecosystem, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, then you need to upgrade your skills like resilience, skills like emotional intelligence. These are very pivotal, because there will be failure when you are trying something new. There will be failure. And
Hmm.
what has happened is, due to the culture of success and lot of TV serials showcasing only presenting success as a cornerstone, students are not accepting to try something new, because if they have a fear they might fail. And this is coming out of my interactions also with the academicians. The students
I
are not
think
able to.
your point, I would like to add something here, sir. A very crucial point that you mentioned is today's generation don't want to try. They want a fast food. They want a food quickly on their desk. They want if you are told to go to that place, you go to that place and I don't want to find out. You told me to go there, I am, and what I want me to do next is a kind of thought process we have brought in. So I used to talk to a few of the people and say, don't live in the fast food industry. Fast food industry, if you ask idli, you'll get idli. If you ask dosa, you'll get dosa. And if you ask for paratha, you'll get paratha. Or whatever. But do you know what is the pain that is going on behind creating that paratha? Or what is the process? Have you tried to look at it? When will you try to look at it? Today, if you ask them to tie a knot to a pole that is there, They are there. What, how should it hold tight, should I get, where is the thread? So you'll have to give every pointer that is needed to do some work in ready for them, and they will do. But
Right.
if you look at our generation, we were not told. We were told to keep that tent ready or the pole ready. Where you got the pole, where you got the thread, where you got the tent cloth was immaterial. So you are supposed to put a tent there. That was the
Right.
point. Today, if you
Right.
tell them to go bring a tent, they'll ask, where is the tent first?
Correct.
How, who's going to help me hold it? How is that going to? I cannot do it alone. So the first pointer is that I cannot do it. So
Right.
that
So connecting on what you mentioned, sir, I am really inspired and in awe with the Israeli startup ecosystem. So
100%.
the military training for every person makes them disciplined enough. It also helps them become a problem solver. They become empathetic, helpful in nature. Look up to nationalism, like what are the challenges faced by the country, and come up with solutions.
I
So
was looking at some Israeli channel, as you rightly said, on YouTube. There is a channel which was for startups. I recall, sir, I don't get the name of the channel. I can find it and post it there. Where I saw the first innovation of the blood test on an iPhone, right? That was an innovation that I saw. You don't need to go to this one. You have the strips with you, and you take the blood sample, give that, and if you scan the photo, the report used to come on phone itself within few minutes, because the color scheme was met so cleanly that an iPhone can do that research and give it to you.
mhm.
That
Right.
kind of a granular thinking they had. I'm, as you rightly said, it's a wow place for innovation, what I've seen, but I don't know why they are not allowed to flourish and stuff like that. And one of the best devices that I've worked on in Israel is the Radware device, which is
Right, right. So, connecting to what you said, sir, I think there is no dearth in India for great ideas. I have met couple of academicians who have brilliant ideas. They
brilliant
are,
ideas.
you know, there already. They have some, what we can say, challenges to
Hmm.
build those things. But there is no dearth of ideas in
True,
our
true.
ecosystem. The thing which I really like about is the rapid prototyping, because
Hmm.
we are talking about the skilling part of it and the skills required. I think as an institution, the skill should be, if an
Hmm.
industry needs something, we need to have a dedicated pool of faculties. We need to have dedicated pool of students
Hmm.
who come together on a war footing to create that solution within a stipulated time period. Because
True.
industry needs solutions tomorrow. When they give you a requirement that we are looking for XYZ thing, they are not going to wait. And that's why the innovation will also come, because Israel ecosystem, or any flourishing startup ecosystem focuses on rapid prototyping.
Hmm.
So we have in AICT we have the idea labs to fabricate certain things, create an MVP, right? But and this year we are going to give about 150 idea labs as per
Okay.
the communication which we have. So in this fabrication lab, we need to come together to come up with solutions which industry need. Now, how will we come up with those solutions? We need to go and interact with the industry. It has to be vice versa. Industry coming to us and we going to industry and looking for opportunities. Why do the people across the world travel to Dharavi? Why do
Hmm.
the best of the universities come to Dharavi? Right? They are not there for money. They don't have any, what we can say, anything to gain out of that. The major reason why they travel is to see the kind of jugards they are doing, the kind of patents which are created, the kind of material they are using to build that kind of a $1 billion economy in a slum area, right? So, how many of our institutions have visited Dharavi? I'm like, I personally have been once, and that too not in the inner depths to see what kind of machines, what kind of jugars they're using, which could be converted into a machine which can execute brilliantly, or some kind of patents could be created out of it. So it's really important for us. One of the major skill is also to travel to understand the challenges and need of the people who are involved in the development of the idea. And lastly, development of attitude, right? When we look at the startup founder, you need to have knowledge, which I talked about. You need to have the skills, right? Majorly, which I talked about, the emotional and the resilience. And third thing is the attitude development, the mindset creation. Now, the mindset will be only created when you have seen failures, when you are ready to fail again. You are, never give up attitude, right? You know how you can pivot, you can work hard. Failure is not an option, and you look at failure as a stepping stone for success. I think that was also highlighted by me in my TEDx talk, which I delivered last year. In fact, in my books, right, uh, the startup theories, examples, and activities, I talk about the knowledge part of it. In the fun of being in a startup, I talk about the uh, you know skilling part of it. In the attitude part of it, the third book, that is Startup Chanakya, right, which talks about in a nutshell how to develop that attitude from Acharya Chanakya's lessons. So I think when you have these three things in sync, you are upgrading it regularly for every level. It's not like you have gained the knowledge or the skill and attitude and you can stay there. It has to be upgraded often to match the industry, to match the level where you are if you want to really go high. So I think that sums up my answer.
So I have brought up the book which Umesh has written, and it is on the screen. It is available on Amazon. So just have a look at it. And Umesh Rathod has published three books. I brought up one of the book. I think when you search on LinkedIn, LinkedIn or even on Amazon Prime, Amazon it is available, right, Umesh?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
the links will be put on our comment section where you can look at these books, and the scroll is down where you can connect with Umesh, where you can see. Oh, I'll bring this off and we'll come back to our session in terms of the pointers that we want. So, what are the industry, or what, in your opinion, what steps has the uh, I can say I'm not getting the right question. Let me rephrase it. In your opinion, what steps can be taken to strengthen the partnership between industry collaborations, industry and academic collaboration?
right. I think industry in the sense filing patents or coming up with new ideas uh, lags a little bit. I'm like, there are great companies which are filing good number of patents, but when you look at linkages, there could be a linkage between MSMEs, industries with academia.
Okay.
I'll give an example. When I was pursuing my masters, there was a faculty visiting faculty who talked about the Chinese ecosystem and how they keep on reinventing.
Hmm.
So they don't wait, for selling one product for a long period of time.
Right.
There is a push from the government that either invent or perish, right?
Hmm.
So what happens is your license get revoked if within 2 years you don't pivot in your product,
Hmm.
either from the material perspective, either from market perspective, or the complete innovation like a leapfrog.
Hmm.
So it keeps the MSMEs in that ecosystem on tow to come up with some brilliant solutions.
Okay.
And these solutions, if you see and read more in depth, you will find there was some kind of an industry academia linkage.
Hmm.
When you look at Japan as a country, a lot of solutions have come from culture, from their societal level.
Hmm.
India got independence in 1947, and around 1940s, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, we have seen what devastation had happened in Japan. So they also started at the same level. But look at their, prowess today. When we
Hmm.
look at from the technological perspective, the
True.
cultural perspective, I think the cultural festival play a very pivotal role in the country to invent.
Hmm.
I will
Hmm.
go one step ahead. If you look at the societies today, every
Hmm.
society we live in, we have 30 to 40% engineers.
Yeah.
Now, why we are not having technological competitions at societal level? Why is that we always have singing, dance, and drama? When we have IT engineers, when we have telecom engineers, when we have civil mechanical engineers, why they are not coming up together at societal level to have some competitions, maybe on robotics, maybe on something related to technology, maybe creating some projects which can be competed, showcasing of their ideas over there. When this change will start happening, I think will be there. The amount of engineers which we have at societal level, the kind of competition which could be created. And I think the Atal Community Center, the ACIC, was a great initiative by Atal Innovation Mission to democratize it, right? I think
Hmm.
we need to move beyond regular dance, singing. I know it's very important, it's creative, but along with that, can we also add the touch of technology? I think technology and culture can go hand in hand. And, we having such great festivals like Ganesh Utsav, right?
I think the technology in festivals and the movie making has been used, but on a ground level, if you look at, we are the highest in terms of animation going looking at. So
Right,
for DreamWorks Studios and Universal Studios and stuff, we do the animation, and most of the labs are in Bangalore or Pune or Bombay, where we do the entire innovation and the movies get released. But
correct.
really looking at your point, there should be a streamline that we should look at the institutions and the academies coming together, looking at how the institutions can also help the academic institutions to bring up a talent pool, or hackathons are happening. That's
Yeah.
happening, and there
Yes.
are
So
few.
hackathons are happening, sir, but these are at institutional level.
Okay.
I believe at societal level also a lot of this thing can do. I don't know whether you have seen these videos from Japanese societal, competitions of
Mhm.
robotics which they are par at. They are
Okay.
par at what happens at IIT, right?
Mhm.
I've been to IIT Tech Fest, and I've always, when I look at the Japanese ecosystem, I say, wow, they are able to do and build such kind of robots and compete and come up with solutions and new ideas every year. So
Mhm.
that kind of a competition at societal level can also help us to, hackathons in academic institutions. Yeah, well and good. But here we are talking about seasoned engineers who are working in corporates, but at societal level, how they can come up with solutions, localized solutions.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we are, see, our thing is more of a jugaad kind of a technology. I'm sorry to use that word. But what we look at is we have innovations in pocket which solve my problem. But how do I look that innovation solving thousands of problems? That's what I think has to be play in place, because now I see a tractor being driven without a driver, because his father was not in and this guy was supposed to go, and he had scheduled the tractor to go to his farm and do the plowing. So those kind of innovations have been done, but those innovations are not getting highlighted. One is that. The second point is those innovations, only a person who understands those innovations finds it and he creates a video of it or something. The
Right.
whole country is knowing it. Whereas you are right in saying that some kind of events that you can build upon, where the colleges and the institutions work together. And I think one point that I heard from the institutions is that this global exchange program, can you throw some light on it? Because I have seen from few colleges in Bangalore sending people to either Britain or to Germany, there, and those people coming here and learning some of the pointers that
Yeah.
is it part of the academia 5.0 kind of a structure, or what is your thought on that?
So it's a good initiative to get a grasp on what's happening in those countries, right? You
Hmm.
get a different perspective when you travel. You find some problems which they are facing, which you can have solutions to. For
Hmm.
example, the West does not have a good nursing staff. We are
Okay.
able to send our nursing staff, which are more empathetical in nature, and we are known for Vasudev Kutumbakam and
Yeah.
that kind of a thought process. Um, but when we look at this exchange program, as of now, it's happening only one way. Students
Hmm.
go there for 6 months or 1 year and they come back. Can we give them some opportunity or research project at institutional level to map the Indian ecosystem over there. What kind of businesses of Indian origin you find over there? How we can scale them up? What kind of new opportunities are there in that country? Because these presentation, this small research project can give that perspective to the student from a problem solving perspective.
Hmm.
You will you so I met some of the Korean students who were in Udaipur in
Okay.
2018,
Hmm.
and I asked them, they were staying in the same hotel. Asked them, what are you doing here? Are you here for, the travel or leisure or what, or sports? Because I've seen most of the people, from young age, they come for
Hmm.
sports and other competitions. So they were very humble in answering, sir, we are here just to explore. We have taken a
Hmm.
1 year break and we're traveling across the country. And
Okay.
definitely when they will travel, they will understand what kind of Korean products are being sold here. So
Yeah.
they will also identify the challenges which we are facing currently. And when they go back, that feedback, that kind of a new learning which they have, will help them to pivot and come up with new ideas. Maybe create new patents, maybe create new IPs, push it to the industries over there, come up with those solutions. And I think that mapping is what we are missing currently. We send our students it is leisure and study, but at the institution level, spending 6 months is a crucial time period. 6 months to one is a very big time for a
Yeah.
person to map the ecosystem, right? And I think if they can do that, we can come up with a better solution in collaboration with the incubation centers. Once they give that kind of feedback to the startups incubated over there, maybe, so it can create a good chain reaction.
Yeah, sir, we are on top of the hour. Final question, and we could conclude the session there. Sir, what would be the advice that you want to give to educators, administrators who hesitantly embrace the changes that Academia 5 demands, and how can we begin reimagining learning in their institutions?
Yeah, I think we should move away from the monotonous way of educating.
Hmm.
How we can excite the new generation to be curious, because then we are not doing justice to the time, energy, and efforts we are putting in. Uh,
Hmm.
Even if it's a new topic, how you can present, how you can collaborate with industry to explain those topics. Find methods, find new methods. Government of India provides an award to teachers teaching methodology also every year at Vigyan Bhavan. The focus should be how innovative we can get at educating the students to keep their focus, because
Hmm.
it's really difficult in today's world with so many distractions to have that focus present. The other
Okay.
aspect is not all students who are toppers can become entrepreneur. Like we say, not every innovator can be entrepreneur, but every entrepreneur is innovator.
Okay.
Likewise, not necessary that every you need to identify the students who are risk takers. As per my understanding, a risk taker is a student in campus who is not bothered what will happen tomorrow. He is
Hmm.
creative in nature, but not bothered more about also the marks which he has get. Can
Correct.
we identify those students, put them in the push them to interact with industry, involve them in the entrepreneurship and innovation community, so that, and I'm talking from my personal experiences and the feedback I have got from the academicians.
Okay.
Every other faculty will say, we had a founder, we have an alumni who is a founder,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was a last bencher.
Hmm.
So it's really important for us to, from the management perspective, to map it. Who are those students? Build a list, slowly pass on it to the other faculties to be lenient on them, so they can spend those 1 to 4 years, whatever they spend in graduation, to pivot their idea starting from first year itself. They fail early. And by the time they are in final year, they have some good idea, good business model. They pitch it to incubator and kind of get incubated. So I always end up with a poem from my first book. It goes something like this: walk alone if you must. Keep walking. You may fall. Who doesn't? Keep walking. They will stop you, won't they? Just keep walking. Did you reach your goal? No. Keep walking. When people leave you, keep walking. Everything will make sense. Just keep walking. If you think your path is lost, remember you have just created one. So that's
Wonderful,
it.
wonderful. I'll add to on that is that, as you said, keep walking, keep walking. But when he looks back, he would have traveled a journey that nobody would have imagined. So,
Absolutely. That's the that's the crux. Yes.
yeah. So to summarize what we discussed today on, we spoke about the evolution of academia, the role of technology. We spoke about colonialism and future of learning. We spoke about what could be the entrepreneurial education system that could have, is what we spoke about. We spoke about schemes of the government that support academia and some skills that would needed for the future, where the students and the educational institutions and adapt the curriculum, is what we spoke about. We spoke about how we can bring up a collaboration between industry and academia, and what can be done if there is an exchange program or anything that is happening on a global perspective. And kind of a small advice from Umesh we've got to understand how the system of educators and administrators can look at the academia transition from 1.0 to 5.0, is what we discussed overall. Thank you, Umesh. It's been a great time we had with you. Hope the audience have found this discussion valuable. We have been streaming on to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are live from LinkedIn, and the rest of the screen platforms have been streamed from LinkedIn to the other platforms. Uh,
So I would like to just tell to all the audiences or the viewers who are going to watch this video now or will be watching in the future. Uh, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan. All the best, and thank you
yeah,
so much.
thank you.